Yes. And like I said, you can just put a passage in the PowerPoint presentation. They just scan it and read it. You don't have to print it. You say, okay, the first slide, this is what the slide is about. And I have a student that did that this week. They had a presentation on cultures. Remember Carlitos? And the introduction was with a QR code. And he introduced his topic and he says, please, I would like you to take, because we use this in the class. Please scan this code and you'll see what I'm talking about. So students also use it as their resource to give out things and be more, original. So this activity is called Treasure Hunt because you can come up with the papers in other places. I put it under the chairs.
What the student wants to give the information, they have to scan. What can they do?
I'm sorry.
They want to save the.
Oh, maybe screenshot, and there's a history there.
There's a history there, so you want to
Yes. And sometimes you show them, like, this is for a lot of information. You want to show them a lot of information, show them there. And then they get home and just copy it or solve the problem, etc. Yes? There is an application for the cell phone which it allows you to create from your cell phone a new code. It's called QR Creator. QR something. Okay, moving on to our last part. Can you tell me how would you give feedback on reading? How would you give feedback on reading?
You're going to have a lot of teachers who have been teaching reading for years. How you give feedback on reading?
How? Is it creator? Should it be? I have a question because I have always wondered that if we should. If we should just assess summatively our students. That means, in the reading section you had a 20 over 40. So your grade is 20 over 40. That is summative. The one that I am providing you today, it's in your copies, please, page 7. It's the formative one. It's called a performance feedback. How would you assess your students' reading in a formative way? Okay? So, that is the source where I took it from. And I feel that it is interesting to ask these questions to your students after they read. It's not all the time, obviously, but every exam or every quiz could be maybe more in a dynamic or in a group work, and tell them to share these questions. If they answer yes, it's 1. If they answer no, it's 0. It's like a test. Okay? For example, question number 1, Miss Hilary.
Question number 1.
Yeah, do you ever predict
Where's that? Do you ever find yourself making predictions about what you read? If so, wait.
So, the first question is a yes no question. If it's yes, 1. If it's no, 0. In the end, you see that it says measure. Down in the page, it says measure. It's like a test. So if you have 1, that is what happens. If you have 2, if you have 3, if you have 4, if you have 5. Yes? Yes? So when they self-assess, there's no better critic than yourself, right? That's what they say. So the idea of the self-assessment or in the peer assessment, they don't feel ashamed to talk to their peer. They don't feel ashamed to criticize themselves. But when the teacher criticizes, it affects for good or for worst. Yes. So I recommend you that if you could follow these, try working first in pairs or first like a self-assessment and say, okay, you finish your reading? Okay, so here. These, you're not going to write on it. Write your answers in your notebook. And tell me how many points did you get. If you answered every the reading part. There's no other way than that. And giving feedback as well, okay? Because the measurement is for giving feedback. Yeah.
So these questions the students should ask themselves first.
Yes,
A separate-
it's a self-assessment.
Self-assessment.
It's a recommendation, but you could make them work in pairs or as a group, maybe with their comadre and compadre next door. Sometimes that makes them feel comfortable as well. But the teacher, if the teacher asks them those kinds of questions, they will feel awkward. So if you explain the questions and then tell them, okay, answer the questions in your notebook, that will be different. You don't necessarily have to give them a copy. You can read the questions and they write the answers. 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. And then they will know, and you will know, how was it, how is the reading of each student. Okay? You can read the whole work of this person in that website. It's there, taken from, and you have the website. You can read the whole work of that person. I read it all. It's a study. And it apparently worked in the university where he made these tests. I feel it's very interesting. So if you have the opportunity to read it completely, good. I recommend you to practice this. Sometimes it's good to know how the students are, because the results of an exercise, they don't really reflect what the student knows or what is their ability. Sometimes it's more than that. It's maybe things that we're missing. So remember that reading and listening are not skills that are, how can I say, they're input, they're not output. So we really don't know what's going inside. So it's better if they ask themselves. Okay? Well, and before we go for the demos, the last page you have is the reading resources. I wrote 5 that I think are really useful. These do not ask you for a trial period or any sort of payment. The other ones on the internet are very pricey, yes. Especially reading is very pricey. So besides the tools that I have already shown you, maybe as a suggestion, you could use these breakingnewsenglish.com, newzealand.com, and those two first are about news, articles. The first one is real news, and New Zealand is more articles about animals, about people, cultures, etc.
All business.
Yes, rewardify.com, my favorite website. That website simplifies language. Language that is super difficult to understand. You put these words or this passage or the whole website on this page, okay? And the student will automatically have a simplified version of the language that is in the original passage. It's really good because they don't need to translate into Spanish. Miss, this is impossible. I cannot read this. This is for another level. Okay, cool. Perfect. Go to Rewardify at home and do it like this. Bring me the screenshot that you did it. And they understand it with other words. They use synonyms and they didn't use the L1, L2 translation.
Also in New Zealand, you have the basic level reading and advanced reading.
Yes, they are levels
Same
too.
reading in two
In the
levels.
same Breaking News English as well. You have multiple English lessons, multiple level. Yes, thank you. Yes, it's true. Read, Write, and Think. It's free resources for teachers. You can download PDFs and docs and organizers for reading and writing. Okay. And readingrockets.org, this is for children, but I think it's very useful because I've used it with my twins. And besides the book flicks, sometimes it's good to cover more material from the Heads Up book. So they're talking about costumes. I downloaded an article about costumes, costume parties, etc. It depends, okay? And they can have more access. You have more access to material, especially for twins. It works pretty well. Okay? So until here, I would like to know if you would like to comment on what we have done before we start the demo class. So we have 4 groups. I'm going to give you 1 lesson each. Your lesson should have ESA. I just want an idea. You don't have to really show. If you can show us, I'm sorry, it's perfect. But if you can't show us, at least objectives, you have the laptops. Objectives, engaging activity, study activity, activating activity, How would you engage your students? How would you study? How would you activate the lesson? Guys, just a quick suggestion. Can you show me your copies? I took copies only about this part because here is the learning outcome. So use this learning outcome. This is my objective. Okay? Use the Bloom's taxonomy inverted verbs for students. Yes, Jimmy, tell me.
Is it okay, starting with a short video?
Yes, it's engaging, but how would you address the video? What is the purpose?
To show a real scene short.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so, brainstorm that. I think you should divide, if you have two opposite ideas, you can divide the ideas or say like engaging, study, activating, okay? It's okay. I recommend you that before you start on the activities, please begin with the objectives. This is something that you, at the end of these 5 lessons, you will do a real class. I will give you, Missy, I think, will give you topics. And you have to present a real class. Time.
Okay, what is really important is sometimes being in other people's shoes, right? So now we have had experience that how the students feel when the teacher is stressing using the time and things like that. And sometimes the teacher and the students get distracted for different reasons, and now you're good. Now, this is the time that you will be in my field, right? Now, all of you are going to come in front according to what Andrea had already organized. But each of you will have a role to evaluate your peer, the pair of teachers who will be in front. But the colors means that you will have like an easygoing evaluator. Those are the orange ones. Those are the driving evaluators, the ones who wants to make the teacher does everything that the evaluator would like that happen. Those are the developing evaluators, those ones who try to encourage the teacher to make it better, and those are the coaching ones, the ones that is going with you in certain things. So each of you will have one different paper on one different role, and at the back you will write a formative assessment, some comments about how your colleagues are working here, and then later on I will collect it and I will give it to the pair of teachers who present the lessons, so then later on you will read it. This is something informal, right? It is not grading. It is just when you consider impact.
This is just, this is just like for you to grade yourselves. And in the end, you will see that in the last week of, last Friday, Miss Hilda will be in charge of filling out real observation. So this is just to practice. This is just like training.
Okay, sorry, before starting. So the people can receive the color cards, and at the back start writing all the feedback that was considered important for the lesson. Okay.
Okay, the objective of the class, the students will be able to discuss personal perspectives about how to be successful by learning new words. First of all, how the students discuss the preview questions 5 minutes in order for them to get engaged and predict what they are going to read. On page 47, that will take 5 to 10 minutes. Then, once they finish discussing, we can apply the QR barcodes, okay, to match the synonyms of the new words that they will find in the article.
I really like that idea.
So in that way they will be more engaged. They will understand the words in context. Then we can instruct them to write sentences of the new words they found.
So after the students are aware of the new words that they have, they can start practicing them and completing the activity on this page. The idea is to present the words before they do the activity. So in that moment they don't suffer too much doing this, and they avoid translating or using the dictionary because they already know the words. So after they cover this activity, before starting the reading, that's the next part, and we are going to show a video related to the topic. The topic of the article is about Formula One, so we can have a minute. Then we can have the students summarize or reflect on what they saw in the video.
To discover what they already know about this topic. I mean, to activate their previous knowledge.
Okay. When we finish the video, yes, now this is the moment when they start reading the article. And after reading the article, they will identify the reading ideas in each part. To continue to the next part, that is matching the main ideas according to the pattern.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. And your partners are writing the feedback.
This is for the first hour of class.
Oh, that's the first hour.
We have a session, but at the end of this, the students are going to be able to talk about and do a research.
Okay.
So first, what we're going to do for the engagement activity to show them some pictures, like 5 pictures, with like risky situations, like maybe like bungee jumping, things that you usually do in water. And we're going to ask them some questions if they have ever done this activity, and if they so how they have felt, and if they haven't done any of these activities, if they would do them. So to engage, to activate their prior knowledge. Okay. After that, we do the digital activity with the reading, it's related to fear factor. We're thinking about doing what they are doing. I mean, what are we doing today? Somebody to have them to give them like parts of their reading, they can have them sit in pairs, and then we'll have to like to see it in the right order. And after that, I will separate the class into different groups, and I will give them the topic sentences. So, and then they will have to put it in order, the topic sentences. See? So in that way, I will explain that melody and the text. And what we activate, we will have to work with it. We have 3 questions here. 3 questions here. And we have to work in pairs, and I will give each pair 1 question. You have to focus on the question, then we have to report. So by using all of this knowledge, they will be able to, they will have all the necessary knowledge to talk about a time when they took the risk. That will be the last part. Okay. To think about a time when they did something like risky, and then they will have to report.
One thing they usually use to engage students or to relate vocabulary we're going to see is to use pressing or to use Quizlets. Quizlets give us a lot of vocabulary and their pronunciation and the meanings. So I use them first to make the words with the meanings. We repeat them, then we play the activities we have because there are some activities we can start using like flashcards. They love flashcards because I show them their meaning and they give me the word. Or I show them the word and they try to give me the meaning. So this is another way I use to engage them with vocabulary. It's a very good tool.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you guys for writing feedback. Let's go with Diego and Miguel. For time constraints. Yes?
You didn't see the slips of paper right here to evaluate, to give us the feedback. Okay, perfect. So this class is about the learning outcome is writing a cause and effect paragraph. The students have to write a cause and effect paragraph, and as an engagement, we're gonna use a questionnaire with the students. For example, we're gonna start asking them the questions that they usually have at the beginning of the unit, these ones. And they are about how can a small amount of money make a big difference. So we start asking students questions, the questions that they have here, and we talk with them. I mean, the teacher talks with them, and also they can talk in person about the other questions that they have. That's an engagement activity, because that can be done also as a whole class discussion, depending on time. Then the study is that the students, study section is that the students have to read the key vocabulary they have here. And of course, after doing this exercise, they can discuss in pairs They can discuss if there's some meaning, especially difficult, maybe difficult word they had. They can discuss if there's, that's like a here word, and they can talk about it, discuss if they don't have something clear. That's going to be the first part of the study. Then we continue with the second part of the study section.
Students also have to discuss if there is any vocabulary in order to gain insight from each other's perspective. As you know, we may understand one word in one way, and another student can understand the words in a different way. So they need to change ideas because they are going to be using these words for the essay that they are going to write. Also, as you know, they already know how to write an essay, but we're going to indicate that the purpose of this essay is to cause-effect essay, which means that the student needs to write the student has to write the hook, which is the first sentence of an essay in order to catch the audience's attention or the reader's attention. And then they have to write the thesis statement. They already know what a thesis statement is. So they have to write a thesis statement with the word because. So this type of essay usually have a thesis statement on their opinion. So we explain to the students that they have to write their opinion about what they read, and then they have to write why they think that. So they need to write because of this or this or that. After that, they have to write 3 reasons why they think that way. These 3 reasons are called the blueprint of reasons. It means that however they lay out information, so I believe this because of this, this, and this. The first this is the first body paragraph, the second this, the reason is the second body paragraph, and the third is the third body paragraph. That's how we should organize an essay. And in the conclusion, we just tell them to wrap up all the information, especially the thesis statement with the hook, but changing words, keeping the same meaning. And then just we can do this for another class, because once the teacher does the feedback on the essay, the teacher needs to write all the rating and the comments on the essay. Then we can also project an essay done by the teacher in which he teaches how an essay should be done.
Thank you very much. Okay, please start.
The big question was, at least why people have each other. The output is to write a reason and example part. So all the engagement, study, and activity will lead to get information in order to answer that question and to write a reason and example part, which is the outcome of this unit. In the engagement, students will explain and discuss the people's reaction to someone is in need after watching a video. So they watch a video, and then they explain and discuss people's reaction. They will watch the video after this. They will make the discussion, right? About people in the video. Explain and discuss. The study section, after the discussion, there are 2 study sections. The first study section is to identify and locate vocabulary definitions in sentences. So that's the first study. So the first, they start with the vocabulary. Before the reading, they review the vocabulary by identifying and locating. So that's the first study section. There is a second study section.
Yes, the second study section is identifying and locating ideas in the text about the bystander effect. It's important to know which verb we have to use to write our objectives, like we have told us at the beginning. So we're using identify and locate. So they don't have to, well, what they have to do is scan, look at the article and find the keywords, okay? So they don't have to read the whole thing, it won't be that necessary to do and go directly to the main ideas, okay? You understand? And keywords. Okay, so it's identify and locate, okay? And finally, for the activating, we have to get the students together so they can defend and support their opinions about the bystander effect. Okay, so they can go back to the video, maybe watch the video a little bit again, and have a discussion about this topic. Okay, discuss and report after this with their own ideas or some reality. Okay.